everyone. So for today's tutorial, I want to show you guys how to make this really cute pin cushion. It's really easy to make. And then I'll show you how to make these really cute pins that you sit on top. I use mine just as an ornament because it matches my my sewing machine cover that I had made. So I'm just going to show you what you need to make this really cute pin cushion, and it sits up really nice. It sits nice on your table, or wow, can't get it in camera view. So there, see, it just sits perfectly. So for this, you're going to need 4 pieces of 5-inch squares. So I'm just going to use, oh goodness, my fan fell. That was loud. I'm just going to use these 4 from a charm pack. And if you want, you could just cut 4 pieces of 5.5 or 5-inch by 5-inch squares. And then you're going to have 2 of them for your main base, and 2 of them are going to be for these corners. Now you can put whatever color you want, however you want to decorate your corners. This is what you call snowballing. So we're going to snowball the corners to make it look really cute. And you could do whatever you want. Like I said, you can put a stripe in here. You can just build this up whatever way. So you're also going to need some polyfill to stuff your pin cushion with. You're going to need some buttons, and I don't think I'm going to use these. I'm going to use these flower buttons here. These are actually from my beading stash, these buttons here, okay? And you're going to need some beads for your pins. I'll show you how to make your pins. You can use whatever beads you want. I just wanted to make one of each color in these 2-inch pins, but I have longer ones, so I'll show you on a longer pin. These are called floral pins, hair pins. They're fairly long, but I like the floral pins better because they're much longer. You're going to need maybe some pins to pin your corners. You're going to need a cutter, and you're going to need a ruler, and you're going to need a needle and some thread. And that's it. So I'm going to pull my, and you'll need a sewing machine for sure. So I'm going to pull my sewing machine out and get ready to come back and show you what to do. Okay, so before we get started, let me show you what you need to do with 2 of your 5-inch squares. So you're going to have the 2 that you want for your top of your cushion, and then there's 2 that you need to cut in half. So I'm just going to stack these 2 up together like this. Then I'm going to put my ruler down here because this is 5 inches across all the way. You need to make a 2.5-inch square to get it exactly in half. So on my ruler I have 2.5 inches. I'm just going to drop it here and line it up with the 2.5-inch mark. So there's 1, 2, half. And then I'm just going to proceed to cut this way. And then you need to cut them both this way. I should have used my turning mat, but that's okay. I want to show you guys in case you don't have it. So again, I turned it, and I'm going to cut them in half again. So I have 4 quarters. All right. So line it up with 2.5 and cut. And that's it. That's all you need for cutting. So now you'll have 8 pieces of fabric like this. All right. And now I'm going to show you how to snowball your corners, because it's so cute. You can do this even with quilts. They're beautiful with quilts too. So let me pull out this trusty old sewing machine. It was just kind of in my way there, so I couldn't turn it on. Now, what we need to do, so let me just show you here, is you're going to take one of your 5-inch squares like this, okay? And you're going to take one of your corners, or your pieces, your quarters. Okay, let me get one square. All right, your pieces here. You're going to put it right sides together, so you're going to take the right side and put your right sides together like this. right in the corner. All right. Now you're going to sew this on a diagonal, and you're going to go, so here's my piece. So let me back up a bit so you can see. All right. Here's my piece like this. You're going to sew from this corner to this corner, and then we'll be cutting this piece off. So put your square down like this, and remember, sew from this corner to this corner. Don't sew like my sister sewed from this corner to here. If you do that, you're going to know you did something wrong. So never start sewing in the corner. Remember that. When you're snowballing a corner, you never start in this corner piece. Always start this way. So we're just going to go to the sewing machine now, and we're going to sew that diagonal. Now you can pin this, like I said, but I am not going to pin it. I'm just going to follow my line right across, and yes. So I'm going to hold my threads here and find my foot pedal, which is under the table somewhere. Here it is. Okay, and I'm just going to begin sewing. All right, done that. Now I need my scissors. I'll just use my rotary cutter to trim my threads off. Okay, so now you should have this. When you flip it up, you have one corner done, like this. All right, now you need to trim this piece off, so I do need to, I'm going to trim it 1/4 inch from my seam. So I'm matching up 1/4 inch from the seam here, and I'm just going to trim it off just to be fair and square here. So now I'm going to go give this a little press with the iron. So just iron it up like this, and I'll be right back. All right, so now we've got one corner done. So now you're going to take your other piece, and you're going to lay it on this corner, on this side here. And like I said, you can pin it. So remember, you're not going to sew from here to here. You're always going to sew from the middle to the middle. Never start in the corner. So let's just go and sew this one really quickly. Okay, and I can kind of see where my 1/4 inch line is because I have a 1/4 inch foot, and that little guide that you have guides it. So you're going to trim this one off. Okay, and now you have your second corner done, like so. So now we have 2 corners. Okay, I'm going to go give that a press, and make sure you press it every time after you've sewn it. And now we're going to do this again. We have a miku up here. Make sure you do right sides together. Okay. Trimming. You don't have to measure 1/4 inch. You can roughly estimate it if you want. Just cut with your scissors. You know, you don't have to do it that precise. And I'm going to give it a press. Like so. And one more. And then we will have all our corners snowballed. Okay. All right, too lazy to get up and get scissors. I'm using this, and I'm just going to trim this freehand without a ruler. All right, so now we have one of our squares completed. As you can see, look at how pretty that is. Isn't that not gorgeous? So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this square and you're going to do the exact same thing with this square. Okay, and I'm going to go do it and come back and show you what to do next. Okay guys, so we've gotten our squares, our corners all snowballed like this. And now all you're going to do is put right sides together and try your best to match up your seams here so it doesn't look too messed up. Okay, so if you have to stick a pin in it, stick a pin in it. It always helps. Doesn't hurt anything to stick a pin in it like that. Okay, and then you're going to start. You're going to leave about this much of an opening. I would say approximately, let me just see here. We don't want too big of an opening because then you have to sew all that by hand. So, and we're just turning a little piece in. So I'm going to leave about a 2-inch opening. Let me just move this over and see. There we go. Well, it's a little more than 2 inches. But anyway, you get the gist. You can leave a 2-inch opening and then you're going to sew. So I'm going to start at this pin here. I'm going to start at this pin and then I'm going to do 1/4 inch seam all the way around and I'm going to back stitch. Okay? So make sure you back stitch because when you're stuffing it, you don't want to break your, rip your threads either. So just give it a couple of back stitch and then go to your corner. Okay, we'll take one more. And then lift your pedal and pivot. Always keep your needle in the down position when you're sewing because it's a lot easier for you to, it's a lot easier that your work doesn't get all shifted on you. And you'll lose your spot. So I'm just continuing to sew this all the way around now. Pulling out my pins here. And I'm going to sew all the way around to getting to my corner to about a 1/4 inch. Lift my pedal, give it a turn, and that's all what you call as a pivoting. That's what you call pivoting. I'm going to continue down this side. Lift my foot. And now I'm going to just sew to this pin line and then I'm going to take a couple of back stitches, okay, and lift it off. And that's what we did. We sewed our right sides together. Hopefully you guys did that. Trim your threads. Now we're just going to take our little piece here. And first of all, we should trim all our corners to get nice points like we've got in that pinprick in there. So I'm going to trim off all my corners. So all you do is don't cut your stitching line at all. Just cut across the very tip of it like that. So trim your corners. 2, 3, and 4. All right, now we're going to turn this right side out. And all you're going to do is take it easily. And now you'll be able to push that up with a, I have a corner turner, but I hate it. So, and I don't want to use these scissors because they're super sharp at the end. They got like a super point there. See that? That'll go right through the fabric. Let me get a $1 pair of scissors and I'm going to use the tips of these scissors to push my corners out. You can use anything. Just don't use something super sharp and pointy because you'll honestly regret it. So I'm just turning this out. And you're going to give it a little press after you get your corners out because you want it to be nice and these edges here nice and straight and flat. All right, we're getting there. There we go. So we've got all of it turned. I'm going to stick my scissors in there and push the corners out as best as I can to get my points. There's one. And that's why trimming the corners will make you have nice points. That's a good tip for all people that sew. Mostly every sewer that I know trims their corners. Okay, and we got one more corner to push out. Like that. Like that. So let's go to the iron and give this a nice little press, and make sure you kind of press your 1/4 inch seam here where the hole is open, so when it comes time to sewing it, and just take these edges here and kind of wet your fingers with your mouth and roll the seam out. Okay, so it's nice and flat. That's all I'm doing. I'm just rolling my seams out, and then I'll go over and give it a press. Nice and flat. So far it looks pretty cool, eh? Doesn't that look good? It's a little pouch. And you can actually make cushions for your couch out of this exact same pattern by using these snowballed corners. My living room is black and red. I changed colors. Okay, let me go give this a quick press. I'm sure you don't need to see me iron this. There's nothing special in ironing it. I just showed you. All you had to do was push those seams out. You got to kind of give your fingers a lick. Hope they're clean. I was born on a farm, raised on a farm. I'm a country bumpkin. So clean hands for me is a must. Alright, so I done a lovely not so good job of ironing, but anyway, it's just a quick job. So now let's get some of our little stuffing here, and then you're going to slowly stuff pieces in here, and you're going to stuff it pretty snuggy tight. And just begin. See how I press the seam inside? Because we're going to have to sew that by hand, unfortunately. Or you can sew it by machine. I sewed mine by hand here, but anyway, you can probably sew it by machine too, if you take just a little tiny corner. So make sure you push this stuff into the corners. Don't forget your corners. So just gonna stuff this baby in there. I don't know how much batting I'm gonna need, so I just grabbed a big bunch. This stuff feels like silk. It's not that real cheap cotton batting. It actually feels kind of nice. So I'm having like a little trouble getting this into the corner. So I'll use my scissors to push some of this stuff into the corners. Alright, we're getting there. Be surprised how much stuffing it takes too. That's not even going in. There we go. So if you want to sew this by hand, you can. I'm going to sew mine by machine, and I'm going to show you how to do that, just because I'm too lazy to sew by hand. Probably get a nicer seam if you sewed by hand, but what do we have machines for? Why use our hands? Right? Oh, this stuff doesn't want to go in that corner. So it's getting stuffed. It's going to be kind of hard to get it right down into those corners, but it does eventually. Some of it pushes down, but not all of it. There. And I'm going to stuff a wee bit more in the middle here, because I don't like how loose it is in the middle. You want to kind of make your pillow even all the way around, okay? And that looks like it's about right. Okay, so now let's go and close this up. So all I'm going to do, see I have a big hole right there? I gotta fix that. There we go. Fixed. Okay, so I'm just gonna squeeze this together like this. And I'm gonna stick some pins in here into my seams just to hold it closed. And ouch. Wow. Alright, and one more pin for good measure. Alright. Now this is going to be super hard to sew on the machine, just so you know. So maybe it is better you do it by hand if you're not very good at sewing on the machine yet. Because now we have to squish this down, put this seam, you have to really squish it without getting your, you want to just snag the very edge of it. So this is all I'm doing, is snagging the very edge so you don't see my sewing line. So I'm going to squish the snot out of this, and I'm going to take a back stitch, and I'm just catching the edge of the thread, or the pillow, the pin cushion. And I'll show you my fantastic sloppy job, but this is the height of laziness. That's all it is. I'm just too lazy to sew it. And I totally missed right there. So I just need to push this down more, tuck that in. I caught here, but my pillow shifted. It's really hard to do like this. Honestly, it is. Ouch. That just pushed it off. My finger did. I'm doing a really crappy job here, guys. So, you might be better off to tack it down by, well, I did a so-so job. Still cute. But this is the result you're going to get if you machine sew it. Okay, so I'll get you a, anyway, it's a really crappy job. So, but it does look still nice. Who's going to look at that, right? That's my sewing job. Now, so kind of shift your stuffing and your batting. Kind of shift it all evenly throughout your pillow before we sew the button on it, so we can push in the middle here. So I'm just going to squish it around a little bit. All right, let me get this batting out of my way. And the pins. Now it's time to hand sew whether we want to or not. I have to. Alright, so let me get my needle. And I'm just using a beading needle because a nice long needle will come in really handy. I'm going to grab a couple of buttons. And I'm just using these buttons that have little shanks on them. So, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but they do have shanks. See? They're a shank button. And I'm just going to pull some thread off of my machine here. That has a nice clean end. Wow, thread is just as hard as fireline to get through some of these needles. I need a needle threader. See, this thread doesn't flatten like Fireline. Just so you guys know that. I think you know that anyway. And this is a needle that's really bent. I may need to get a needle threader because this thread's a little too thick. Yeah. Might not go in here. But I bet you I know what would go in here. Fireline. You know what? I'm going to use Fireline. Why not? Because Fireline will work just as well. And I got some 10-pound Fireline, good and strong. This will work. You don't need a lot. You just need enough to sew a couple of buttons on. Alright. Guess we won't really flatten that with, oh yeah, here we go. Much easier with Fireline. Alright, so what you need to do is determine where the center is, and what I like to do is just stick a little dot on there with, get down, with a washable marker. So I'm just going to kind of roughly guess where the middle is here, and just put a little tiny dot there, flip it over, and do the same thing on the other side, look for the center, and put a dot. So I just got a little tiny dot. If you can see my little tiny dot. Okay, now so you're just going to come across like this, sewing. Let me see if we can bring this up more so you can see what I'm doing. So you're just going to come across the top like this and hook a little piece like that. Whoops, never mind. You got to go all the way inside here and come up in the center. Sorry. So I'm coming up in that little wee dot that I made. And I'm pulling my thread right inside and hiding it. Then I'm going to pick up my button. And then I'm going to sew here like this. Okay? Just sewing my button. Don't pull it too tight because you'll pull your thread right out. So go through the same process. Just pick up a little, pinch a little bit of fabric in there. And go in there. And then pull it tight. So now you need to go through your button. And catch the thread again. So we want to really secure this button in place. Like this. And I'm going to go through the button again. Make it good and tight. Alright, now I'm going to wrap my line around the button like that a few times. Then I'm going to drop my needle down, squish this as tight as I can, and then bring my needle up on the other side. If I can find my hole, which a bent needle doesn't help. And I'm underneath the button here. So I may not be able to do this with this bent needle. Oops. Oh, I'm getting close. Closer. A little more. There we go. Found it. Okay, and then you're going to pull this tight like that. See? You're pulling your button in. Now, pick up your other button with your needle. Okay, I got my other button. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go down in here and snag a bit of fabric and probably catch a bit of that batting too. Wouldn't hurt anything. Okay, and pull this nice and tight. So pull it tight like that. Now all you got to keep doing is just driving your needle back and forth, pulling tight from one button to the next button in the center like this. Pulling tight. Go through the shank of the button. Pull it tight. Back down. Come out the other side of the button. Or the other button. Pull it tight. And go through the shank of this button. And I'm just doing it so it's kind of invisible. Pull it tight. And now back down. Oops. And you can kind of feel your thread or your needle coming up because it will push the button up out of the way. So I'm going to squish this as tight as I can and give this a good tight pull because I want to sink it in like this. See? Then I'm going to wrap it around this button here. Keep wrapping. All right. Don't let go yet. Hold that thread nice and tight. And then drop your needle down and do the same thing on the other side, the other button. Pull it tight. Nice and tight. And wrap. Begin wrapping it nicely. Like that. Alright. And now you can just tie some half hitch knots, but try to do it underneath the button if you can. Scoop a bit of fabric under the button. Like this. And I'm just tying a half hitch knot. 1 and 2. Pull it tight. Go down through the other side and do the same thing on the other end. Tie a half hitch knot here. And it is getting a little harder to get your needle because now that we've squished the middle, we've made our pin cushion kind of like sunk in. So it's pretty like that. Alright, now where did my needle come out? It is way over here. So I'm just going to snag a bit here. Okay. And I like to do a surgeon's knot, so I just wrap my needle in, put my needle through the hole twice, like that. Pull tight. Now just take your needle, drop it down through, and come out anywhere on the pillow and catch your thread in the batting. So I can see my needles coming out here. Okay. Now all you do is pull this tight, this thread, and cut. And then your thread will pull back inside. There you go. Now you have yourself this really cute pin cushion. Is that not darling? So sweet. Now let me show you how to make these fancy little pins that you can stick in here. Wow, this one all got covered in batting. Alright. We're going to make these pins. So let me get my sewing machine out of the way here. Okay, so let me get you guys up here so you can see what I'm doing. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. All right. So I have these things called floral pins that I ordered. Now these are really long pins. They're 3-inch long pins, but they're really perfect for doing this kind of beading for your pin cushions, your fancy pin cushions. These ones are much smaller. They're 2-inch and 2.5-inch hairpins. But today I'm going to make one out of this 3-inch hairpin, floral pin, sorry. So I'm just going to pull out one floral pin. And as you can see, it's plastic at the tip, but it's crystal AB. It's a bead. And I'm sure the pearl one would be gorgeous too. Let's do a pearl one instead. It's nicer. And I bought these off of Amazon.ca. And look at how long these are. They're right super long, but they are thicker than a needle. So you got to remember, you can't use super tiny beads on these pins because they're too thick. So I just grabbed an assortment of some beads so I can show you how I did mine. Okay, oopsies. And these here are what you call earring backs. They keep your ear wires on. So you're going to need some of these just to put on, or some kind of stopper to put on your pin to hold all your beads on it so they don't just fall off when you lift it up. Like this. See? I've got a stopper on here and it stops my beads from falling off. Alright, so all I did was I took some beautiful beads, just grabbed some from my stash, and I strung on one bead with the pearl. Isn't that nice? It's pretty. And then I used some bead caps, some really pretty bead caps. So let me get some bead caps here. Whoa, wow, dropped the whole whack of them. All right. So I'm going to put a bead cap on here like this, and then I'm going to flip one the other way. You can decorate these up whichever way you want, like this. And then I'm going to take a Swarovski crystal in the pink. I'm going to put that on. Look at how pretty so far. Okay. And then I'm going to put, I think I'm going to put, let's see, I think I'll try another pin, but it's upside down. And then I'm going to put a darker Swarovski in a pink, like that. So we've got some really pretty sparkle. And then I'm going to take, I'm using 6mm pearls here. So I'm just mixing up beads. So I'm going to put a 6mm pearl on with that so far. Look at how pretty. These are really fun to decorate. My sister and I had fun decorating these. She helped me. But I really like the longer pins better. With the pearls on the top, they're really pretty like that. And for good measure, I'm going to put another one of these bead caps on this way. And I'm going to string another Swarovski bicone on like that. And then I'm going to put some 4mm, and I don't know if these will fit on here, so we're going to try. I shall let you know if a 4mm will fit on this or not. And they do. So I'm going to put on a couple of these smoke colored or black diamond, I think they're called, crystals like this. And then I'm going to finish it off with, I think I'm going to put another pearl in between these. And then this will be done. You don't want to overcrowd the pin too much, too far down, because if you do that, you ain't going to be able to stick your pin in your pin cushion, and then it won't look so pretty. So what I did was I put on a 4mm, another 6mm, and another 4mm, like this. And now I'm just going to put that end cap on, that end, the earring end on it. I might have gone too far, like this. and push that on, and that will secure your beads onto your pin. Now look at how pretty that is for your beautiful pin cushion. And you just stick it in your pin cushion, and it kind of gives your pin cushion decoration. If you're one like me and you don't use your pin cushion, I don't use my pin cushion because I have my magnetic one that holds my pins on here and they don't fall off. But this I made for decoration. But like I said, you can use it. Not everyone's got these magnetic pin cushions or pin holders or whatever they're called. And you might like to make yourself a couple of these. If you make yourself the sewing machine cover, make it in the fabric that you make your pin cushion to match. And it looks really nice on our table because my sister has hers. I'll show you hers. Hers matches her cover, but she uses her pin cushion. She has her pins in her pin cushion, but she's just got these ones kind of sitting in the back for decoration. Okay, so this is the end of this tutorial, and I hope you guys had fun watching and learning how to make yourself this really cute pin cushion. And you show me on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe for more upcoming tutorials. And I guess I'll see you all soon on the next video. Bye, everyone.